Welcome to Cambodia Business Week. This week we want to talk about the upcoming Euorcham Tax Forum 2017. After a great successful tax forum in 2016 with over 400 people attending, with participation from the General Department of Taxation and the top industry firms. We are expecting to have, again, an incredible event on October 12th, which will be held at the Intercontinental Hotel. Okay. With me today is Kimsroy Chhiv. It's almost there, right? Chhiv. Kimsroy Chhiv, who is the chairman of the Euorcham Tax Committee and also the country manager for Deliotte.
No, tax director.
Tax director for Deliotte. Okay. Deliotte, which is one of the top 5 Big Four firms. And we have Blaise Killian from Euorcham, who is in charge of the Advocacy committees. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We are very excited about the event on Thursday, and we have put together an incredible agenda. So I'm going to first let Blaise tell us about the event upcoming on Thursday, October 12th at the Intercontinental Hotel.
Yes, Anthony, thank you. So indeed, it is our second tax forum. Last year the tax forum was Euorcham's most popular event. We had about 400 people attending from morning to evening. 90% of them stayed until the end. It's the opportunity for us to present the business community with all the recent tax changes, the changes in the tax regulation, also to provide insights from the best specialists in town, because we will have a number of very high-level specialists from the best firms in Cambodia talking about tax. It's also for us the opportunity to engage, to continue engaging the General Department of Taxation, because we will have panel discussions on specific topics such as tax changes, but also tax dispute process. We will have panel discussions with both private sector representatives and General Department of Taxation representatives. So for all the business representatives who want to understand better the tax changes, who want to get more practical insights on how to deal with the tax landscape, and who want to have questions directly answered by the specialists and by the GDT representatives, well, this is the opportunity. And the event will indeed take place at the Intercontinental Phnom Penh from 8 a.m. all the way to the evening, with even networking event.
There's a networking
at the
event.
End. Yes, for those who will survive a whole day of taxation discussions, there is a networking at the end of the day, and we do expect a number of people as well. We already have a lot of registration, but there are 2-3 days more to come, and we are looking forward to it really, again, as the most popular event of the year for Euorcham.
Okay, and you have participation, as you said, from the GTT, so His Excellency Kong Vibol will open.
Indeed, His Excellency Kong Vibol will preside over the opening ceremony, and he will deliver opening remarks. And we know that usually when he does that, he takes the opportunity to give us a lot of exclusive information and previews of what he intends to do. So we are looking forward to it. And then in the panel discussion, we also have a Deputy Director General participating to the panel discussion with specialists from the tax department. Indeed.
Okay, and some of the firms that are participating, because you have some of the best in the market, are either giving speeches or participating in panel discussions. So can we talk a little bit about the companies and, of course, the sponsors?
Indeed. So the companies who are represented in the forum, we have the best indeed. We have speakers from DFDL, from Deliotte, of course, from R&T Sockenheng, from HBS Law, from EY. So you will also be there.
Cambodian Investment Management, that's right.
Of course, and as well Boone and Associates. So we have really the best, and the event is also supported by sponsors. We have a number of sponsors. We have DFDL as gold sponsor, but we also have CamEd, who was here last year and who is coming back. We have Deliotte, who is supporting us. Also, we have Infinity. We also have R&T Sockenheng, and we have some media partners, Khmertimes, realestate.com.kh, and Lotus Radio, who is also a media partner.
Okay. Kimsroy, you're recognized as one of the top tax experts in the market, so you're also having an opportunity to speak. Tell us a bit about the agenda. Okay. What's the topics that will be covered?
Okay, thank you, Anthony, to mention.
She's good.
Okay, our agenda for the tax forum, because of last year really successful, and we did last year is quite similar, but I think we bring something really additional value of what we did last year as well, is to have the updated we accounted for the last year from the last year forum until now. What will be the updated during that year, and which I myself will be present on it. After that, we have our panel discussion with the Excellency One Protocol and also with the director of Light Taxpayer. We also participate in that speakers. So during that, we are checking for some information, especially for the mechanism and the future tax that they are going to work on. And we do understand that there's so many working groups. But during that tax forum, it's really the best opportunity for those who really want to directly interact with the department. I think would be the best thing. And after that, we do have the Q&A for each section. That one is for the morning session, but during that we also touch up on the transport pricing. The thing is, because transport pricing regulation has been held for a number of years, and government do announce that they already have the draft. So that period we catch up on that thing a little bit, and also have another panel discussion cover in the afternoon session, which also cover the agency tax. And there is some issue as well for the small taxpayer because of DAPRACA have been issued last year, and there is some number of the mechanism or procedure that need to clarify. So during that period, we do have to cover that, and the most important thing would be tax audit. I believe that tax audit is always the attractive point and also the topic because government do have pay a lot of attention to collect more tax, and the more action they take, there will be a lot of interact between taxpayer and the tax department. So this one will be come up with a lot of issues, and also helping both sides to coordinate to improve the process as well. Those things have been presented by each our speaker and also consolidated in the panel discussion. And finally, we do a wrap up and networking. So that's really a best time for if you have any question, catch up with our professional speaker and also sponsor, and also especially department as well.
Sounds like a fantastic agenda. So there'll be audience participation as well, right? So those that attend will be able to ask questions.
Indeed, we will open the floor, as mentioned by Kimsroy, after every presentation and after every panel discussion. So the participants really will have, even more than last year, the opportunity to ask questions directly to the professionals and to the GDT officials. The General Tax Department not only send panelists, but also send a lot of officials to attend the forum. So it's also an opportunity to engage with them. Forums give you the possibility not only to listen or to ask questions, but also to meet directly with people. So in this regard, it's really a good opportunity, and for us it's the continuing good cooperation with the General Department of Taxation in order to continue foster public-private dialogue. We think it's very important, especially in a constantly changing regulatory landscape in a context of continuous reforms. So this forum is really the demonstration of this evolution, and we look forward to it again.
So there has been a lot that's been going on this year. I think if I remember last year, we had the front row was filled with the tax department branch heads, the GDT. Indeed. So I mean, there was a lot of mingling going on also during the coffee breaks as well. So the representation by the tax department was spectacular because the tax branch heads were there, as well as the GDT reports, the direct reports. So that's a good opportunity to mingle with them. But also, I guess if we could talk a little bit about how we came up with this agenda. There were some very specific topics. I guess being in the business, tax audits have become a bit of an issue these days. So what would somebody learn at coming? Because I think this is a universal issue with taxpayers, is when they get audited.
Yeah.
So we have a panel discussion. We talk a little bit about that. So what's some of the advantages of listening to these discussions? What would they learn from this?
Actually, if you think that what they can learn from this, it really come up with a various topic. But if only focusing on the tax audit only, there will be a lot of things they could obtain from this forum, because we understand that our regulation is still a little bit broad, So if something is not really clearly defined in the regulation, there will be at least some guideline from the department working on it and do the analytical based on what is the market, what is in the nature, how it is being benchmarked to the other. So we believe that there is number of audit issue. Mostly it always come up with something that is not clearly defined under the law. So during that session, really the good opportunity to open and give the discussion department what is their view on that and what is their expectation to improve on to make a new law, to make it clear, to settle any the process as well as the dispute, not to make it happen, or actually it cannot be advisable, but at least they have some guideline to give to minimize the resources, time, as well as the consuming, the time as well as the other resources to work on to settle any cases.
And there's also a very very relevant topic, which is transfer pricing, which is an imminent regulation, correct?
Yeah, sure. Actually, transfer pricing, it also does impact and also the hot topic to discuss during the audit as well. This transfer pricing is, I can say a lot of investors are FDI, or we can say MNC, multinational company. So the Cambodia is part of their subsidiary. So anything they always have the strongly support from the head office come down. So the related party transition is really crucial.
So there's a lot to learn. I mean, there's a fabulous agenda there. Anybody that's a taxpayer or considering being a taxpayer, I think we'll talk about small taxpayers. I think I will talk about small taxpayers. So this is something where a lot of businesses that are operating here who haven't become registered taxpayers and now are being sort of pushed by their customers. There's lots of advantages of becoming a small taxpayer. There's also, as we said, some lack of clarity as well that we could actually raise during this tax forum. So that for those considering being taxpayers, that's another opportunity. I'm going to ask Blaise. Just we can't actually have the show without talking about the white book, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So we have to talk about
Indeed.
the white book,
Indeed.
right? So tell us what the white book is. It was just released. It was a big event that you had for the white book, which covered some tax as well.
Indeed.
So let's talk a little bit about the white book.
Of course. So I mean, the white book, as you know, but maybe others don't know, the white book has just been released. It's our second edition. We released the first white book last year in March, and we have just released the second edition this year. What is the white book? The white book is a set of policy recommendations that we basically address the royal government, but in a very positive and constructive sense, meaning that we try to explain in the white book what are the challenges to the ease of doing business in given sectors, and for each of these challenges we explain why it is impacting the competitiveness and attractiveness of Cambodia in general for investors. So we really talk about Cambodia as an economy, and we always propose a solution. So the white book basically is a call for continuous dialogue with the government in order to work together with the view of improving Cambodia's competitiveness and attractiveness for investors, and because the country is going through so many reforms and through so many efforts to increase the realm of the formal economy, there is a lot to say. And I must say that with regard to tax, last year our tax chapter got a 100% rate of policy responses provided by the General Department of Taxation, which we really did appreciate, because every single issue that we have raised, you remember you were here, Anthony, we met with the Director General of Taxation. He answered every single issue orally and then in writing as well. So now, of course, we have updated the white book. We have a series of updated challenges or new challenges. It's normal, and we have released it. We have handed it over to the royal government, especially to His Excellency Sokchenda, who was presiding over the event. The General Department of Taxation was also present when we released the white book. They already have comments, and we welcome every comment. We look forward to the discussions with them.
I think so. Those discussions have to continue,
of
right?
course, that's the whole process. And I mean, indeed, certainly in the coming year, we will have more meetings and discussions with the relevant ministries, which are of importance to the private sector, in order to work together in addressing the issues that have been raised in the white book, and looking forward to continue improving the ease of doing business in Cambodia.
So Kimsroy, I'm going to ask you, as the tax director, as the tax expert. We've been through this many years of dramatic changes. I think His Excellency Kong Vibo has been in that chair for about 5 years now, and the MEF chair as well for about. And we've seen a really dramatic changes in tax. Just give us an idea of some of the real positive things, because I think people think of tax as being very negative.
Nobody wants to pay tax, but
nobody wants to pay tax.
But in the end, if the other pay, we should be okay to pay. That's the main point.
But I mean, you've been around a long time. I've been around a long time. I remember 10 years ago when you looked at how tax was handled and how it's handled now.
Yeah.
So what are some of the big changes that you would say over the last 5 years since the MEF and the GDT had new management at hand?
Okay. I think the dramatical change it does, but with the number of improvement in terms of tax regulation and also the interact between the taxpayer and the tax department as well as the MEF. Previously, I believe that the government also want to do things, but there is a resource constraint, which what we most of the time heard is that the tax office doesn't have any sufficient tax officer to respond, to conduct the audit is on time, take a lot of time to delay. But with the new leader of the new management and the lead by the Excellency Kong Vibo as the Director Tax General, we do see number of change in terms of the correspondent, tax update, and even the tax procedure as well as the administrative is really significant improvement. Previously, that's what I can share with is that we cannot see our client, or we sometimes even our company itself. We submit application to request for response. It took years, and sometimes it's already lost somewhere, the track. But now with the new introducing of the online electronic barcode, QR code, it's really a quick track, and always when we submit now, we always get a written response, and the time consuming is really quick. My experience last time we just around 1 month, or can be 7 days. One application just 7 days is completed. So I do appreciate it on what the tax department do really make a strong effort to improve. But understanding there is a lot of things not yet settled, so I believe that tax department is doing the great job for further improvement and to make it very comprehensive and transparent for both taxpayer and the tax department.
And I think the standardization of the tax branches as well.
That would be in the process for improvement.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think what is if I ask one more question on it, what was the most significant regulation that was introduced, I guess, from the last couple of years that, as a taxpayer, that I would be interested in hearing about?
If we touch on the new regulation, actually our law is having since 1993 with subsequent amendment 1997 and then our law is law on taxation is formally started in 1997, but there is amendment in 2003, and after that it have the subsequent amendment of broadcast. But if we touch about new thing, it will be, as what I recall, it's come up with actually, for one, the most significant thing is about the board taxation agreement, which the development is work very fast. That just within 2 years, the tax department could manage to sign up to 4 countries already, and there are so many countries is on the line up to second or third round discussion. So it's likely that we are going to expand our country as well as to well known to other investors to be a most attractive place for investment. And what I heard is that even it has signed, but it's not yet enforced. But the draft, the board taxation law, have been passed to the Ministry of Economic Finance for the discussion before passed to the Parliament to read and formalize it. And another significant development would be on the exemption of the minimum tax.
Right.
Actually, that law, this tax has been put in the law quite a number of years since it was started. But doing that, before it could give some exemption, there are a lot of criteria to comply with. And why the government have been have thinking to give the exemption, just end of the day to give more encouragement to the investor to come, because some industry when they do have a very low margin, it's really quite difficult to afford just to pay the minimum tax. 1% on turnover. It's equal to 5% margin already. Actually, before come up with the idea, there are a lot of things to discuss, have been worked under the private working group, and also do a comparison with the other countries. So they take the Laos as example, where they already give the exemption for a number of years. So that's why it's a lot of things to discuss, and now they decide to give it,
I think
but subject to condition.
Right. So I think that just to clarify that a bit, because that is something of interest to a lot of the audience. So that 1% that you have to pay as tax on your revenue, on your turnover,
Yeah.
even if you have the exemption, you still have to do that, or you still have to pay the 1% monthly.
Yeah, that is part of the cash flow issue.
Yeah, that's the thing I think people would like to see disappear. But if you have a loss, you could actually then take that 1% and carry it over as a credit.
Yep.
Where before it was a minimum tax. So is there any chance of that 1% going away anytime soon?
I believe it's still in process.
No commitment there,
No
right?
commitment.
Okay, well that would be great if that would be followed through, because as you said, some businesses see that as a pretty heavy burden to pay 1% of their revenue.
Yeah.
And it's still in Cambodia, I guess, whether it's true or not, an overwhelming percentage of businesses still report a loss.
Indeed.
So they see that as just money down the drain. So the question I was going to ask, sorry, thank you. It took a little time to get out there, but you got it perfect.
Okay.
How important is tax as a subject to Euorcham members? Because you guys cover a lot of ground. You have automotive, you have customs, you have green. You guys, how many committees do you have? 10 committees?
9 committees.
Nine
committees now, but a lot of sectors indeed.
So how important is tax?
I mean, I would say that tax is important for every single member of Euorcham because every compliant company has to pay tax, and we insist on being a chamber of compliant companies. When we receive membership applications, of course, we check on compliance. That's the basic requirement to be registered, and also because one of the issues that is still impacting Cambodia as an investment destination is the problem of unfair competition. Therefore, for those who are compliant, the issue of having to compete with companies who are not is an issue. And in this regard, we really do appreciate the efforts that are being currently undertaken by the government to really expand compliance and to expand the real economy. Therefore, and this is why Euorcham Tax Forum is such a popular event, because tax is of concern or of interest for every single compliant company, because everybody has to pay tax, and because we do support and we do want to see the efforts to expand compliance, bear fruit on as soon as possible, even if it's taking time, and therefore in all sectors tax is important. It's very cross-sectoral.
Well, I want to thank you both. We wanted to keep it short, so we kept it short. So on October 12th, which is a couple of days away, Thursday. If you haven't registered, how do you register?
You can register on the Euorcham website, no problem.
How much is it?
So the fee is 60% for non-members and $60 for non-members and $50 for Euorcham members. And you can register on our website. You can also come the day of the event, but it's open.
Includes lunch?
Includes lunch and includes the networking event at the end of the day. If you are still standing, you can have a drink with us.
It's a whole day event.
That's a pretty good deal. You should raise your prices.
Well, thank you for the tip.
So October 12th at the Intercontinental Hotel, Euorcham second tax forum.
Second tax forum.
Huge success the first year, over 420 people, I believe. And as Blaise said, 90% stayed till the very end. So please register online or come the day of the event. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.